In this demonstration, I'm going to show you a little bit about checked list boxes. A checked list box is similar to a list box, except you can pick more than one thing out of the list box. Where other list boxes we've seen so far, you can only choose one item. Here you can put a check in front of all the items you want. So this is an example of a checked list box. It's going to contain cities, and then based on which ones I choose, I'll put some of them over in this list box here. So I just want to talk about a couple of the properties. When I click on here, I would come over to items again, collection, right? I can add more cities if I want. Okay, just like you do with list boxes. Right. Another property, I'm just going to run this to demonstrate, is notice when I make my choices, I click once to select and then a second time to put the check mark in. All right. This is the click on checked property. If you don't want to have to click twice, you can come over to this check on click and set it to true. And when you run it, right, you just one click will select. Okay. All right, so what I want in the show chosen cities is I want to run the program, choose some of these cities, and then whatever ones I choose only will go over into this list box. So the easiest way to set this up is to use a for loop, because I know how many times I have to go through. These checklist boxes have the same properties as list boxes. They have items, they have selected index, they have selected item. They also have the count property, so I can count how many of them there are. Since I can count all these, I can set up a for loop that goes through all of them, and if they've been checked, then I'm going to add them over to this list box. So let's take a look at the code here. I set up my for loop. I have a counter. I just called it int counter. It's going to start at 0 because we're going to be looking at the indexes, right? This one is at index 0, index 1, index 2, index 3, index 4. And I'm going to continue up to checklist box. You can see the prefix CLB, cities.items.count -1. Now, if I look at this, the count would hold 5, but I want to go through the indexes, so I want to start 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. So my for loop starts at 0 and continues while it's less than count, or continues up till when it's count -1. Then I just want to check and see if it has been checked, if it has a check in it. And the new method that we'll look at here is get item checked. And when you specify an index, it will tell you if there's a check in front of that one or not. Okay? So the first time through the loop, it'll look at index 0, and it will check to see if Boston has been checked. If it is, all I'm going to do is I'm going to add this item into my list cities list box. So I have list cities.items.add. The add method will just take whatever's in here and pop it in the drop box. So it's going to look like this. I'll choose Boston, Chicago, Denver, and those are the ones that come over here into my chosen cities. Okay, so I clicked it again. I got the same 3 again. Let me close out of this. All right. So again, if you want to go through all the items, just easily set up a for loop to do that, and then you can do whatever you want inside. Here I'm just going to see which ones have been checked. Very easy to use.